To this video, like I said in our last video, what we are going to do is to create a frame inside of our application that can make it to be scrollable in a situation whereby our output will get our output like we saw initially, we'll get our output, so it will be stored in that particular frame instead of the general frame. So we are going to make the frame to be able to be scrollable. So everything that we need to achieve this video, I've talked about it in a well detailed way, and the link is in down description below. So if you are still new to this Tkinter environment, you can just look at it so you to know what we're actually doing. Because everything that we need to use to create this our chatbot in Tkinter, I've explained everything in detailed well format. So if you are still new, it might get a little bit tricky, but if you have been following my video up to this point, you shouldn't have a problem. So without much further ado, let me run this thing. Let's see where we stop in our previous video. You can see where we can enter a text here and the search button here, and it just signify we are going to enter a conversation here. Step we are going to do for us to achieve what we want to achieve here, to create our frame. That frame we are going to create is going to hold our canvas, and then we are going to create kind of a scroll bar on that of the frame. So the first thing we are going to do, you can call it frame, but I can just name it main frame. Let me call it main underscore frame. We're going to have a frame that is inside it that's going to, here we can render our text. So I can say our main frame is going to be what? Frame. And then inside it, I can say main frame dot what, and the colon span to somewhere around 3. And I want to add sticky. This sticky I basically just do it just simple. It's going to, in case there are actually extra space, this our main frame is going to just try to occupy that of the space. Then I can set it to what? NSEW. So there's a whole lot of other things that you can set here, like that of EW and a whole lot of other ones. So if I was to run this now, let me run it. Kind of line here, this signifies that our frame is going to be on somewhere here. Our frame is going to start from here. As you can see, the length as it was being placed in columns, what is it called? Row 6, but I tend to push up because that's how Tkinter actually was. If there's nothing in that column, it's going to try to push it up. Meanwhile, it's just still on row 6. So we can actually put the other things on row 5, row 4, row 3, and a whole lot of them. So we can see that we just created a frame. And that frame, what we're going to do with this frame is going to hold our canvas and our scroll bar. So we want to create what is called a canvas. This canvas, we want it to be inside of our this main frame that created. This frame is like going to be the general frame. So we're going to, instead of us calling main, is going to be that of the main frame. So we're going to set the width and the height. So let me just set the height. I'll set the height to somewhere around 250, and then I can set the width. Sorry, I'm going to set the width to somewhere around 500. So I also want to set the background color so we know what we're actually doing. So I can say BG and it's going to be okay. Right now, if I were to run it, we're not going to see anything on the screen pretty much. So let's run it since the canvas has not been placed on the screen. So next what we're going to do is to make that of the scroll bar. The scroll bar is also going to inherit from this of the main. The scroll bar and the canvas are going to be sitting on top of the main frame. All these things I've talked about it pretty well. So I can say scroll bar is going to be what? Capital letter scroll bar, and it's going to be what? Frame. So you're going to take the main frame. And the next thing is also we can set the orient. We want it to be in vertical format. So we can come here and set our orient. So we can set it to vertical. And then we can also set our command, because it's really good idea to set the command to be in that of the YV, because they also have that of the XV. But setting in YV means that it's going to be in kind of a column way. So I can set our command. I'd want it to be wide up. So you can say that it's going to be our canvas. To use the canvas to make that of the screen. You can say canvas dot what? Y view. So as you can see, they have that of XV and a whole lot of other ones. Frame where we are going to input everything we are going to do, because this canvas is just like here, and it's going to inherit from this main frame. It's going to sit on this, and then the next frame we are going to create is going to inherit from this of the canvas that we have here. The scroll bar is just like a different section. The canvas is like a different section. There's still another ways to do this. We can actually create a canvas separate, and then we can create a frame inside of it. So we can directly just create the canvas and then create another frame instead of creating main frame. But I want it to be in like, in case we can try positioning it in a particular, because if we do not do it in this way, with this help of this main frame, we can able to position our frame in a particular section. So like you can see, when position it in row 6 and that of the column 0 with the help of this main frame. So every other thing is not going to be inside of that row 6 and that of the column 0. Though as we go on, you're still going to understand this, and I've explained all these things pretty well in my previous video, and the link for that video is down in the description below. So the next thing we're actually going to do is to create the frame, the scrollable frame, because that scrollable frame is where all of our text, all of our things we want, the label is going to be sitting on. For us to do that, I can say I can say scrollable, I can call this frame, so know what to add with. As we can call it, since you know now to be frame, then it's going to help from that of the what? Canvas. So I want to set the background color to white. So this I want to set it white. So when we start add everything, we can differentiate the two background color. So the next thing we are going to, since every variable frame is this frame that is going to be scrolled on, and it's going to have all those text that I want to be there. So I am going to actually check in a situation whereby there is some changes within the x-axis or the y-axis. When the text is being rendered, I know that it's going to be a change. So we need to make it to be able to, for Tkinter to be able to detect it, and then try to be able to scroll down so we can actually see the last text before moving, scrolling up and down. But just get the idea. So what we're going to do is just to actually call that of our scrollable frame. So I'm going to set is this anchor guy, and I'm going to say what configure and this anchor guy, and also we're going to make use of lambda. We can use of your normal block. Just say lambda here. Can say lambda. I'm just going to give it, and I'm going to say what? I'm going to say what canvas dot what config. I want to be able to let canvas be able to execute some changes within the environment, and then another want to do is to set out of the scroll region. So that's what scroll region. I want the scroll region to be canvas dot what, and say canvas dot b box, and it's going to be what. So if you get any copy, this was just actually what we did in our previous video. So just in this, so let me bring down this guy a little bit. You can have more room to work on. So since we are able to, Tkinter is not able to, this script with help of this scrollable frame dot b and configure here, we captured any changes within the our x and y axis or within that of our frame. All these things I've explained it pretty well. The link is down in the description, like I keep on saying. So if you're getting any conflict, just make sure to check it out. So the next one is to actually create our window. We're going to create our window. We want it to start from that of the 00, and then when I mean 00, it's going to be on 00 of this row 6 and this of colon 0. So I can say what canvas dot what create underscore window. The create underscore, and the window I want to create is going to start from that of 0, 0. So let's also add on it to set our window actually be, it's going to be scrollable frame. And then also want to input our anchor. Is always a good idea to anchor. Anchor is going to make sure that you start from that 00. We know that 00 always start from this. You can see this where my mouse is. Let's say start from somewhere around there 0, 0. So it's going to start from there. And this anchor of a guy is going to, and the window I want to be able to be scrolled on or to perform add things on is going to be this of our scrollable frame. So with that, we can with this we can actually configure it to canvas to be on that of the Y scroll command, and setting the Y scroll command and setting it to be this of our scroll bar. So next we are going to do is to do what I say canvas dot what configure what I'm going to set for Y command. Next for my VS Code is able to help me with some of all these typing, and then the next I'm going to do is to that make use of that of bar. This is a scroll bar dot what dot set. This set method inside of this of our scroll bar, so we can make use of it to make sure that everything is being configured in that of this. It's going to be scrolled the y axis, I can say in the y section. So with all this, what we are going to do next is actually to pack it on that of our main frame. So to do that, we're going to see our canvas grid. So to explain the really, we are going to be in what 0, and then I can set the colon to be in what colon is going to be 0. You'll be wondering, since I have this row 0 colon 0, I think there's actually a row that has this at top here. Okay, there's no button or entry that has this row here. But even though I was to set any button anywhere that has that 0 row 0 colon 0, it's not going to be affected by this canvas. It's not going to overlap on it because this row 0 is talking about this main frame. It's not going to affect it. So the next we also want to do, since our scrollable frame and this is our canvas, there are like two guys inside of that main frame. So we also need to put our our scrollable frame. Sorry, not our scrollable frame, our scrollbar. Sorry, when I mean instead of scrollable frame, I mistake it with scrollbar. It's still to be scrollbar. Since canvas and scrollbar are two different guys. So, and they're on top of that of the main frame. So we need to actually grid that of the scrollbar. So we can see our scrollbar. Yeah, our scrollbar. We also need to grid it. You can know kind of something like this. Scrollbar is something like this. That by if you can look at my cursor, you can see this is a scrollbar. Look like this. So this is like a frame. This background is just like our main frame, and this text that you can see here, just like I see this text is sitting inside of the main frame, and the frame is what actually holds this text that we're writing. Yeah, I think this is just the best explanation for us to know. This is like a scroll bar is inside of this main frame, and there's also a canvas that's holding our frame, that's holding this entry, holding all this edge, but every text that we're going to write, just assume that this text is just inside of that frame, and that frame is inside of the canvas scroll bar here, as it's inside of the main frame. Just look at the main frame with the general guy. Just get the idea. So we're going to set it to what? What? Want to can set it to row 0, and we can to both of them to be in the same color. They're in the same color. It's as if the scroll bar to be inside out of the canvas. I do not want it. Just imagine this scroll guy. Just let me extend this. Imagine this scroll guy will be at the center here, or to be inside there. It doesn't even make sense on its own. So remember I said this sticky guy. Just make sure that we do not, in case it's occupied, it's going to canvas is going to take over to it, and there's a whole lot of other things, sticky things. We use the NSW here. We can also make use of the word and a whole lot of them like that of EW. So let's run this and see what we have on our screen. So you can see something like this, and the scroll bars will be somewhere around here. What we have here, this is the frame. The frame, and you can see the white background because this signifies that is the canvas inside the frame. The scroll bars will be somewhere around here. When we add a text inside the scroll bar will appear, but it should be appear here. So in our next video, we can just try to find the error here and then fix it. Because as of right now, I don't think there's any problem that can detect. Okay, let me try to show down this geometry of a guy. No, let me leave it. But in our next video, we're going to try our best to detect the error, then we can fix it. I think you can see that if I was to add something in the other, maybe somewhere around row 5, this guy is going to move, that is our main frame is going to shift a little bit. Because I didn't add this here, I think the scroll bar might be able to pop up. But if it does not do that, well, we can try to fix it in our previous video. So I think this is where we're going to draw the curtain for this video. If you enjoy it, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. In the next video, we're going to implement the chatbot inside of this of our Tkinter for us to actually see how it works. So I think this should be it. If you enjoy, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I'll be happy to see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.